Meant to be. Well,
Okay, life.
Oki, Sinatapi. That means Oki means my spirit is very, very, very happy to see your spirit and feel your energy. Sinatapi just means how you're doing. Um, my name is Theda NewBreast. I'm part of the Native Wildness Institute team. And this week, oh my God, this week we're celebrating all of our indigenous resiliencies and all of our indigenous languages and all of our indigenous people from around the world. It's our 183rd program. So we're trying to just wrap our heads around that in our 30th week. And so we have a special guest today. And um, Aurora, as I know her, and my niece, and I say little because like I'm 64, and I won't. She can divulge her age if she wants. I've known her since she was a baby, and so we say little just because we cherish them, and I cherish Aurora, my niece, and so I'm gonna have her. We're gonna start with some prayer songs just because we can do that. And so I'd like Aurora, if you would do some introductions and start us off with a couple songs, that would be so wonderful. So I'll give it to you.
Hello, my relatives. I say Oki, Oki. Mitanaku Matomenskiaki. My Indian name is First Singing Woman. I was given my name by my relative Herman Yellow Old Woman in Canada, by way of also my great aunt Wilma Grace Wells, who lives up there, North Pagan. And I work at the Native American Health Center. I am a tribally enrolled Blackfeet member of the Blackfeet Nation up there in Montana and Browning. And I've been working out here at the Native American Health Center for 20 years. I worked in many different aspects here, different departments, working in the medical department for the first 5 years, and then behavioral health department for the last 13, 14 years, doing culture prevention work, direct service to the community, bringing healing through, we like to call, nowadays we call decolonization, you know, and we talk about protective factors, you know, and creating spaces of belonging and inclusiveness, and continuing to carry on our culture and traditions. And out here in the Bay Area, there's many, many different natives. I work here in San Francisco, and I've been here when the building was over on 56 Julian Ave before the recovery program opened up. The original spot, Native American Health Center, opened up in 1972. And as a result of the 1960s Relocation Act, there being a lot of natives out here that came out from all different parts of Indian country, and there being a great need for culturally competent healthcare. And so Native American Health Center was formed back then, 1972. And now in that same space, we've moved over a couple blocks over, and in that same space is the Friendship House Association of American Indians, 80-bed inpatient treatment program for American Indians. So we work very closely with them. So they're our sister agency. And I've been singing since I was a little girl out here in the Bay Area, you know, with the American Indian movement, being around Bill Wapipaw, you know, out here, our family being involved in a lot of that movement out here. And back in the early days, before I came about, I know Theda was out here and her mom, Betty, and they were the only two Blackfeet families I hear out here in the Bay Area. And they found out about each other and connected and became our extended family out here. And that's what we do out here in the Bay Area. Is we might not have direct blood family here, but we create our families, you know, in a healthy way. You know, we'll adopt each other as uncles and aunties, you know, and cousins and sisters and all that. So yes, I've been singing, I would say, singing the AIM song since I was a young girl. And we participated in ceremonies out at DQ University. They had actually some sun dances out there in the early days, Lakota traditions. Yeah, and so just growing up out here, being connected. Our family eventually moved back home as I got a little, like 7, 8 years old, to be close to their parents. And I feel fortunate that I was able to live there in Browning and go to school, you know, until I graduated high school. Yeah, and so I'm going to share a couple songs today. I'm going to share one song I like to sing is a song for women in recovery, is the Strong Women song. And this song came to my Aunt Gail Fairchild in her time of recovery, and you know, having coming up on some, you know, we all come up on challenges in our life, and it was she was walking in the mountains there up there on the Blackfeet Reservation, and this song came to her, and basically just creator saying that everything we need is all around us, you know. Medicines are out there everywhere that you need. Harvest them, you know, and take care of yourselves. Self-care, we're going to talk about, you know, in a time of pandemic fatigue. So thank you, Theda, for asking me to come on today. I woke up, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm just,
Yeah,
I'm holding hands to you because you're filling my heart.
Oh, thank you.
When Gail's name, I just love that woman. So I'm just holding my hands up to you because I'm preparing my heart to hear your song. I just know it's going to fill my heart.
Thank you. And you know, as all of you pretty much know, our songs are our prayers, you know, and so, and they bring healing. And you know, we talk about the power of singing songs and the power of listening to music, and it can take you, you know, somewhere else out of your everyday hardships, things that we might be going through, you know, during the pandemic. There's many different layers, you know, since we've, it started back in March. And so, yeah, just sending healing prayers out there to everybody, healing from those that are suffering from COVID, you know, and those suffering from addictions, you know, we pray for them as well, and protection. And so I'll sing the Strong Women song.
Oh, thank you, Aurora. And I'll let you catch your breath. Because if you want to sing another song, that's totally fine. But while you're catching your breath, I just want to say, Aurora's grandmother is a Wells, and I could just see her. Sorry for the phone ringing. It'll go off. I'm not going to adjust it, but I could just see her. I was looking out the window, and it's snowing, and it's only 31 Fahrenheit here, and I could just see I don't know, I could just see her smiling down upon you while you were singing. And since this is Indigenous Week, that we're celebrating, you're the third generation. I would say, we're at a time where I always look to you, Aurora, because you behave like the ancestors. When you dance, and when I seen you, I work out there in the Bay Area I'm the female traditional consultant to Native American Health Center. But when I would come and you'd have all your dancers, they made all their outfits. You sewed all their outfits. And Aurora made this dress for me, which I wore today because our younger women, they sew for us, and no money's ever exchanged. It's just sewn. And but I remember one day when you had you had about 15 plus kids. And I just remember them all coming, they got there after school. And then I just watched you, Aurora. I watched you because they all cherished you and they all loved you, and you'd help them make their outfits. And then it was, because they were like, fourth graders, sixth graders. And then, they were just normal Indigenous, having fun and laughing and, of course, eating and being together. But then all of a sudden, when the drum started, I saw all of these fourth graders and all of these sixth graders transform into our ancestors. I saw I saw their dignity. I saw their confidence. I saw their self-esteem, and they just stood up, and then they just started dancing in. And I just want to say that because that's how I always see you, is facilitating anyone who wants to dance, who wants to sew, who wants to bead. What you and Mike Duncan and the crew down there did with the fatherhood program, having the braids and the hair conference, and what you did with the water walk. So I just want to I want to compliment you, because part of the way that you get rid of pandemic fatigue is watch what comes out of your mouth and watch what's in your thoughts. Tell people what they're good at. This is grandma talking to you. Quit complaining and quit bringing down people. Only say what they do good. Only show what they are doing well. And that's how we get through this together, because we're united. Don't do, let's say, napiquax, or don't do like others that bite at and tear people down with words and thoughts. In the Indian way, so I'm telling you, Aurora, I'm modeling, because there's so much more that you do. I've only fraction of us said what you do. So do you feel like singing again, or you feel like, because I just, we're like, part of
I don't mean, I can sing. I had planned on singing the other strong women song that we usually sing out here. We have a women's group, and we've been meeting since actually we started up about a year and a half ago. We started out with during the Me Too movement a couple of years ago, and we did a red ribbon dress workshop, for missing murdered Indigenous women out here. And we had workshops, presenters come in and talk about sexual abuse awareness and domestic violence awareness and all that. And we had women come in, and we set up sewing machines, and we did red ribbon dresses, and we taught if they wanted to learn how to sew. And and we had facilitators, volunteers come in to help teach as well. And some of them, we gave them the option, you know, if you don't feel like sewing and you just want to sit back, you know, and do self-care, that's okay too, you know, and you could just watch as we sew for you, you know, and take care of you. And so out of that, we started singing a couple songs together, and then we actually formed the group, and we've been meeting. We were meeting, I think, bi-monthly, a couple times. First, it was weekly before, just about a couple years ago. And then as pandemic kicked off, we, you know, we went virtual. We had to go virtual. And it's been good. You know, it's hard to sing everyone to sing at the same time all together on Zoom, but we just ask that everybody mutes their screen, their audio, and then we just sing from home, you know, and we support each other, and we do a women's talking circle. We check in with each other, you know, and we ask people to share to their level of comfort, you know, and sometimes your story might help, you know, somebody else uplift, you know, them, and lets us all know that we're human, you know, we're all the same, we're all equal, and we all go through the same challenges in life. And so some of the songs we sing, some environmental songs, we like to get together, and sometimes we'll sing, we love to sing Fawnwood round dance songs, and we've reached out to her and asked her permission as well too, and she's okay with that. And we love, you know, a lot of different songs out there. I'm gonna sing this song. You probably heard of it. I first heard of the song from Anishinaabe area, from a sister that came down to work with us here at the health center, an Ojibwe sister. Jasmine Manning brought this song out here to us. And this song is a song for women in prison, you know, women that are having a hard time in prison, to help heal themselves, you know, and give themselves strength. And so the incarcerated, you know, we want to also keep them in prayer as well, that have children at home, you know, for healing for their family, and for healing from intergenerational trauma for their family, and self-awareness, you know. And I always pray for self-awareness, you know, for my son, you know, and my family and our relatives. And not everybody has self-reflection, you know, and self-awareness to be able to see themselves, you know, from the outside in, and to, you know, correct yourself, and, you know, forgive yourself, and love yourself, and be kind to yourself. And I always say each day is a new day, you know, to start again. Each day is a new day to start over again. And just, you know, be thankful and grateful for things in life. I'm so thankful to be able to be alive, to breathe, you know, to wake up today, that I can swallow my food and eat it and digest it, you know, and taste it and smell it, because there's so many people that are suffering from life-threatening illnesses that can't even digest their food or taste it, you know, cancer patients and stuff. But yeah, we just, I'll share this one. And then we usually sing this song at the water walk too. When Mona Stonefish comes out, we work with a traditional consultant, grandmother water walker from Anishinaabe country. And so we usually sing the water song, and then we sing the strong women song. And we've added the warrior woman song as well too, from the Lil'wat Nation. Just universal, you know, healing songs for Mother Earth, the environment, you know, and to bring awareness to important issues in Indian country. All right. Way-ah, way-ah, hey-oh, way-ah, way-ah, hey-oh, way-ah, hey-hi-oh, way-ah, way-hey-ah, way-hey-ah, hey-hi-oh, way-ah, way-ah, hey-hi-oh, way-ah, way-hey-ah, way-hey-ah, hey-hi-oh, way-ah, way-ah, hey-oh, way-ah, way-ah, hey-oh, way-ah, hey-hi-oh, way-ah, way-hey-ah, way-hey-ah, hey-hi-oh, way-ah, way-ah, hey-hi-oh, way-ah, way-hey-ah, way-hey-ah, hey-hi-oh, hey oh, hey oh, hey hi yo, hey hi yo, hey hi yo. Way ah, way hey ah, way hey ah, hey hi oh. Way ah, way ah, hey oh. Way ah, way ah, hey oh. Way ah, hey hi oh. Way ah, way hey ah, way hey ah, hey hi oh. Way ah, way ah, hey hi yo. Way ah, way hey ah, way hey ah, hey hi yo. Oh.
Oh, you know, Aurora, um, when I could see Michelle Maz, I could see Janet King, I could see Michelle Antone, I could see several while you were singing. They were standing with you. And for those of you out there, a lot of the San Francisco Bay Area, we had a big month-long celebration, November 2019, and it was so beautiful because it was pre-pandemic. We had, of course, we had famous people from Colin came out from the 49ers. I mean, we had famous people, but we had a lot of famous grandmas and grandpas who took over Alcatraz November 20th, 1969. And so for the indigenous world, that was historically many things that happened before that. There was the riots like we have now, for the protest against Vietnam War. But it was also a protest for equality and social justice. The Black Panthers, the American Indian Movement, Cesar Chavez, Angela Davis, all of that at that time. And I could just see, because when we were there for the 50th annual, and there was 11 survivors, they were still alive, who took over that island, and they were up on stage. And then Earl Livermore came up, and your strong women got up there and sang that song, and saying when you were singing for them. And again, these are elders in their 70s. They were still activists, but I seen them stand up that same way I saw those kids stand up when they were dancing. I seen them stand up, and when you guys were singing and I got to stand next to you, I could feel the vibration of the energy, that indigenous love, that indigenous tenacity, that indigenous strength, and so I just wanted to, thank you for that. And thank you for singing that song. When I was getting ready for, I wanted you to share, Aurora, some of the stuff, the activities. I mean, there's so much, but when I was getting ready for this, one of our, it's kind of like our Gona Native Wellness Institute has a lot of Gona offshoots, and one of our best practices is about healthy relationships. And there's this visual in there, and I've been looking at it because these are some of, we're not going to just, we know the challenges as Native people and as Indigenous. We know all of these challenges, but right now we have this big brick at the top. It's like because it's like 8 months, going into 8 months. And I'm beginning just to see it with the people I'm working with, that we're now seeing it as a gift, that this challenge is a gift of to spend time with our families, to spend time with our loved ones, and to work things out. And but it's a time when, if you're living with people you ain't supposed to be living with, go live somewhere else. You know, people are like transforming where you're living, since you know you were just working, because some of us work 2 or 3 jobs, you know, and we're not there. You realize you want to fix up your nest, you rechange how you're living. So I think one of the pandemic fatigues is the fatigue evaporates when you fix up your nest. The fatigue evaporates when maybe where you are, you need to live somewhere different, or you need to go experience somewhere different. So I just wanted to, I just held that up because, yeah, we know all the problems. We know there's the drug addictions. You know, I'm working on 33 years, you know, clean and sober. And some days I feel like I don't know nothing. I mean, like, I just, but I know I'm still clean and sober, so that's something to celebrate as an Indigenous person. So Aurora, I'm just so, I don't know, I'm just happy, and I'm glad Jeline and I got to just visit a little. So just visit with us, because the Power Hour is visiting to uplift people. So share with us some of the stuff that you're doing. What would you like to talk about next? Because I want to just open it up so that we can hear you.
Let's see. I wrote some notes down for myself. So yeah, we've just since the pandemic kicked in March, as everyone else was forced to go virtual. Janet wanted me to mention that we have a monthly circle with elders. A lot of people across the nation I know have started food boxes. Checking on elders. They've had wellness workshops for staff. They've had with incentivized workshops, checking in on our homeless folks out here, our homeless community, making sure they have food right here. It's not just one person. It's like, it takes a whole, we say it takes a herd, as you all know, a team of people, a large community of people. It's been going on so long, for 8 months now, that it's common and normal that you're going to feel fatigue. You're going to have disagreements. You might have some disagreements with partners and coworkers or community members. I see people bickering back and forth, on social media and stuff. And the important part, the positives is that we formed new partnerships, with the city of San Francisco, through many years of work that community members have put in and built relationships with, to where there was some emergency COVID funding for the community here. And it wasn't necessarily for the Native American community at first, but because people that we know and good relationships that we've made, and built in the community, happened to be a sister that we sit in ceremony with, who happens to work for the city of San Francisco, who spoke up for the American Indians out here in the Bay Area to receive funding, emergency COVID funding. And so, we were able to partner with partner organizations in helping the community, San Francisco residents, American Indian community members, get help with rent and utilities, and PPE supplies. The process takes a while, as you might know, to get the funding out. And sometimes people, get impatient and all, but eventually, they got it and stuff. And so we're still, working with the community, partnerships with food boxes, with San Francisco Hub over here. We're working with Valerie Toulier, and also Friendship House, and coordinating delivering boxes to the community. We're working with Cultural Conservancy, who's going to be delivering some fresh organic produce this Friday to bring out to our community members. And personally, I've been a recipient of some food boxes as well from Segorite Land Trust with Karina and Janella over there, dropping off weekly organic food produce and stuff. And a lot of times we don't know what to do with that. Some people they're not used to eating so many vegetables or having so many fruits, and sometimes if it sits, you're going to collect fruit flies and stuff. And so, just trying to keep it moving, keep that produce moving and stuff. And if you're able to, you can juice it, and if you're able to blend it up in a blender and make a smoothie, or dice it up and freeze it and put it in your freezer, all your fruits and vegetables so they don't go bad. And the Oakland side of our clinic, they're giving out recipes on how to work and cook with these organic fresh veggies, and different recipes. We need more creativity, when it comes on what to do with all these vegetables. Let's see, we've had a weekly men's drum circle with Mike Ballinger working with us, as well as beating groups happening. Yeah, Mike Ballinger's, from the Bay Area here, a longtime resident, All Nations Drum. Him and his son, Michael Andrews, teaching powwow drum protocol to the men in the community here and the young men that are coming up. And so, yeah, we just wanted to, talk about a little bit about the fatigue part. Is like the important part is that we, we're talking about it with each other. We have daily huddle with our staff members where we're able to check in with each other and, see where we're at and just acknowledge, what you're feeling that day. And I remember Theda put something out early on, a little graph that talked about, all the different levels of that we go through. Sometimes when you first, something like this first happens, you kind of freeze, and you're kind of in that mode and you don't know what to do or where to go or how to handle the situation. And then eventually, you process it and you move into mobilization, into reaching out to your community and helping, and then, taking action and putting good healing work out there in a community. And it's okay sometimes to go back, to fall back. Sometimes you'll find yourself falling back to that first step again of like, because there's so many layers to it. I've been realizing, throughout these past months, and there's so many layers to this, and it brings. I seen somebody put up a post, a meme, and it said talking about trauma responses, and that some of us overdo it, and we're just going, and overdoing it to the point of burnout. And some people slow down, and don't really want to do anything, and don't find motivation, and none of it is, it's all okay, either way is okay, the way you're handling it, just however you handle it is the best way to, just honor where you're at, and what you're feeling today. And at the same time, there is a silver lining, like Theda mentioned, there has been blessings of like being able to be with your family more often, there's challenges that you have to, help your kids with homework and try to juggle all that together and be a teacher and all, and struggles with connection, finding that internet connection, and sometimes there's multiple people in one household using that one internet, and so spotty internet connection and stuff, and just trying to navigate it, and at the same time, just remembering and honoring, yourself, and it's okay to stop every now and then and say, why am I feeling this way? What is this I'm feeling, and, if you have to jot down some notes for yourself, and to help yourself process that and have that self-reflection and growth in your life. Trying to think, yeah, I also wanted to mention, so we've been like in the Bay Area here too. I know just recently there was some events that happened with Indigenous Peoples Day. It used to be formerly known as Columbus Day. And now I guess Berkeley was like one of the first places out here. The mayor decided to change it to Indigenous Peoples Day with definitely a lot of people, community members putting work in, activist work that happens in the community to bring awareness, and as you might have heard, the statue was brought down here in San Francisco, a racist statue by the Native community as well, and just, rising up, and bringing awareness. And then at the same time, there's the other side of that I wanted to talk about too, is like, being a mother. I'm a mother of 3 sons, and I see, that spirit of resistance out there, which is good. But at the same time, there's the other side of that too, which is like, if your kids, they can become angry, at the resistance of the angry, holding on to that anger and not knowing where to go with that, of the atrocities that happen to our Native people, and we've been working with GONA out here for many, many years at Native American Health Center for about 20 years, starting in Oakland with the youth program, Crystal Salas, kicking it off and um, leading the way with the youth program, and more recently, evaluation work around helping GONA to become an evidence-based, community evidence-based practice, gathering evaluations and all that. And so, yeah, we just talk about the evaluation and helping GONA become evidence-based practice. We know as Native people that our culture and tradition and ceremonies have helped us for many, many centuries, but we have to prove it, to the Western world. And so that work is in process here, that important GONA work. And just, San Francisco American Indian Cultural Center recently had an event on Monday as well at Golden Gate Park, socially distanced with masks, just bringing the people together. And we talk about how important it is to bring the people together and create those places, belonging and inclusiveness. And one of the teachings I really like and appreciate about GONA is that they say that there's no wrong way to do things, and if something is not done the right way, then we use it as a learning, a learning teaching tool, to work with our community and teach them, teach our children, and I think of that commercial. You ever see that commercial where an example is like the commercial when the old man's laying down the concrete on the ground, and then the little kid comes and walks on it, and he was like, he could say and like yell, that's often our first response, as parents and grandparents, to yell at our children and scold them. But instead he was kind and loving to him, and told him it's okay, it's okay, we can fix it, And the same thing when there was a commercial about the little kid that spilt the milk on the floor, and the mom wants to like scream and yell at the kid, but no, it's okay, it's okay, we'll clean it up together, and just remembering how powerful our words are, and even speaking about this pandemic, our words are so powerful. I'm thinking of my aunt, one of my aunties who had breast cancer, and she overcame it, and she's really a big prayer warrior. Auntie Maxine Correa, she's my Navajo auntie by marriage, and she's always been there for me since I was younger, and always reaching out, and still writes letters to this day, old school letters. I get cards in the mail and everything from her, but she overcame breast cancer. She's a breast cancer survivor, and I asked her, I said, she lives out in the rural area, Albuquerque area, and I said, Auntie, how do you think you overcame cancer? Do you think that it was because of your diet, that you're able to eat healthy foods, or was it because of your positive prayer and thinking? And she said, definitely positive prayer and thinking helped her to heal herself and overcome cancer, and so just thinking about all the sickness that's going on with the COVID, and just want to remind everyone, how powerful our thoughts are, and our prayers, and just remembering to think positive. I do it to myself all the time. I'll say something negative, and then I'll just quickly correct myself, and I'll be like, no, you're good, you're fine, like I came to work this morning, I was a little tired, and I woke up really early, I think around like 3:30 in the morning, and I couldn't go back to sleep. You know how you wake up and you're like, you start thinking about things, and then you're like, oh crap, and then so I eventually got up, and I ended up praying early this morning, lit my medicine and stuff, and put some prayers out there. I even got on my knees and prayed today, and just, yeah, it's just interesting. I got the call from Theda today, and I believe that, we walk in a way, I always say we follow and walk in the steps of our ancestors, and always looking for those tiny miracles in life, I like the saying that says there are two ways that you can look at things in life. One is as if nothing's a miracle, or the other is if everything's a miracle. And I choose to look at life that way, that everything's a miracle, and always looking for those tiny signs from Creator, they're everywhere. There are messages all around us, if you listen, you'll hear it.
Yeah. I was just, as you were talking, Aurora and Miss Alice, and there's for 20 years, you've been having that Gona with the youth out at the Marin Headlands. And we were privileged. My mother and I got invited 3 years ago just to come out and share a little of healing around from historical trauma. And, having grown up in the Bay Area. But I remember all of the youth that you had there, because you had over 100 kids from up and down the state of California. And they were all singing that song, and they were carrying pails of water. They got water from the ocean, and they were walking, and they were all singing. And of course, I always know, for some reason I look at the like the fifth graders, and you have your older, but there was they were singing, and they had their flags showing their indigenous pride, different flags. They had their water flag. And when they were singing, they had gone through an exercise, maybe, I don't know, half hour before that, where we had them in their clans, their Gona clans, our teams. Their assignment was to go down to the water and talk to the water, and then come back and tell us what the water said. And it was the most profound. These kids, all these young, they came back, and the water talked to them and said profound things like, just try to have your kind heart. Just, give to others. It's all about generosity. It's not about materialistic things. It's not. But when they were singing, and I just want to point that out, because we're talking about fatigue, pandemic fatigue. When all those kids were singing, do you remember when the whale came?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow! It started coming from the ocean. And then there was some seals came. And anyway, the kids were singing, and their glee in their face, because they go, look, there's a whale is coming to our Gona. Because, and then I'm just pointing it out because, I'm saying to your staff and what you guys have built from this resiliency, you're still doing it during the pandemic, and you're still doing more of it, because all of those young people, I just remember the glee in their face and being with them, and that energy. It is the 8th month, and so I'll just say a couple things, and then I'd like to hear more of what you guys are doing in the Bay Area. One is around boundaries. Mm-hmm. And Deb Aurora, she's a clinician that works with people who get multiple personalities from trauma. And she has success with natives by integrating the more positive personalities. And she said we visit all the time. This morning, she said, one of the stressors, and so just to think about how we could heal that too. She said one of the stressors is, because she has her grandchildren who left where they lived in her home. And she said one of the stressors is that all the grandmas don't know the technology and how to help them get on and do their homework. Mm-hmm. And people helping them, she said, they're so ignorant. They just want to say, click this. And they don't know that isn't how grandma learns. And mm-hmm. She said she's seeing the stress by grandmas and parents, mothers and fathers wanting to help. And that we need to be more gentle, and we need to put a hand out and bringing everyone's level up, all of our traditional people to technology. Mm-hmm. And so that one note on the boundaries is, one way is not to limit your screen time. I'll have to look at the clock, because limit your screen time. So I've been noticing, just with the people that I'm working with, is that they get up and they have their routine of prayers and their yoga and eating together before they turn on their phones. Mm-hmm. One family that I was working with recently, they just said, we have to bring in new boundaries. So when they all sit down at the table, they collect all the phones.
Yeah.
They collect all the phones and then, have the time together. So I was even thinking, because like when we were before pandemic, I would have people give me their phone when we were training so that they could be present. So I guess it's a boundary around being present.
Yeah.
So Aurora, what else? This Indigenous Week, you over these past 20 years, you guys do so much. What else would you like to talk about in terms of that we could use today in this 8th month of this pandemic to our audience? What could they begin to do?
Well, definitely. One thing we've been doing is, you might have heard that you can reprogram your thinking, in your brain to positive, and by doing 3 daily gratitudes, to say at the end of each day, you can sit with your family, and say 3 things you're grateful for, or you can sit with your coworkers, and say, name 3 things you're grateful for. And they said if you do that 30 days, that you'll reprogram your thinking to positive. And so, yeah, I'm guilty of that too. You remind me, talking about behaviors, and talking to our kids good when we go home, it makes me think of that saying when we do Gona is like about walking the walk, and walking the talk and stuff. And that you can't come and teach wellness and go home and kick your dog, and that kind of really made me think a lot too over the years too. Is like, go home and like yell at your kids, for not doing their homework, or like go home and yell at them for missing class or not doing their chores and stuff in not a good way, and then just reminding ourselves, to speak kind and gentle to them. And I know that's the way our grandfathers and grandmothers, our ancestors, taught us in a kind way, and throughout the years, I think it's just kind of been lost a little bit, from generation and generation, and needs to be brought back, and we can all do it. We can all teach, each other how to talk kinder to each other. And another word that comes to mind a lot too during this last 8 months is coexist, right? That comes to my mind a lot too. It's like, wow, we need to coexist with each other in the house, and I guess creating more family time, like at the end of the day, call your family together and have a prayer, make that your daily routine at the end of the day, along with your 3 gratitudes, to be thankful for. Make that your family tradition, and cook a meal together. Don't kick your kids out of the kitchen. I'm guilty of it myself. I used to kick my kids out because you think that you just want to hurry up and get the job done, but use that time, to connect with your children and stuff, and elders and all. And I wanted to also talk about screen time, during this pandemic. So many people are just spending a lot of their time on the screen. And the downside of that too can lead to depression, loneliness and isolation. I recently watched that on Netflix. It was Social Dilemma. If you guys get a chance, watch that. It just talks about, how our youth, they're just on their phones all day, or on internet, and looking for acceptance, and if they don't get it, and some of them might get bullied, so cyberbullied and all, and it can lead to suicide, so just being aware of, your kids being on there, and even yourself, adults, be aware of time, be aware and notice, if you've been feeling, not so happy every day. It could be spending too much time on social media, so just trying to limit that, and have more face-to-face time, helps us, and at the same time, we're all healing. I believe the more family time we spend together, we heal. If you don't have family to spend time with, reach out to friends, call 2 people a day. One of my sisters, who's not here anymore, ceremony sister, Myra Smith, said, reach out to five women a day. that's kind of a lot, right? But even 2 a day is good, reach out to those around you, and if you're having a hard time struggling, another elder taught us, surround yourself with five people you look up to and reach out to them too, and yeah.
Yeah, right before we came on, I went to UC Berkeley to school there, and I was honored to. It was like for full circle to do a commencement speech in 2017. And one of my elders, because I didn't want to do it like how Europeans do it. I wanted to do it indigenous, so I didn't want to have like, of course, an outline, and I wanted to say prayers, and so I went and I got painted, and Leonard Bastine and his wife Audrey. So I always, women go to women, and then when I went up and I told her, Audrey, I said, I have to talk to all of these, and they're lawyers, and they're getting their PhD and their masters and their native students, and I want to speak from the heart. Can you please give me some advice? And and of course, when she painted me, and she said, anyone can do this, because it's she said, before you get up there, you take time and you call yourself. You always call yourself, and so call your Indian name in the 4 directions. And she said, when you call yourself, when you call your Indian name, it brings all your ancestors down, and you'll be centered because they're all surrounding you. And then just speak from the heart. Yeah. And so that's what it was like, because you get there's times in life you get nervous, but when I looked out into the audience, like it was all the native students getting their degrees from UC Berkeley. I saw Eva and Emmett Chase's grandson. I saw the people that I went to Berkeley with. I saw them. I saw, Rosalie McKay's grandson. It was like they had broken the glass ceiling or the buckskin ceiling, and they were raised by people who didn't drink or use drugs, and they went to the university and they were getting their degrees. And there was even a young man, and he has that restaurant on the Ohlone restaurant on University Avenue. And he got up and said the prayer all in the Ohlone language. And I was just, I wanted to just talk about this pandemic, this reaction to things. What else could we do? I mean, because you've said so many things. I mean, you just love, especially the electronic stuff. But what else, are you seeing working in the Indigenous Bay Area that's really helping families stick together and heal together?
I had something else in mind. I was going to share about that. When you talked about ancestors surrounding you, right? Just something funny I thought about is like sometimes when you like you go somewhere and you'd be like, oh, who came with you? Just you? Like, no, me and my ancestors. Hey. Yeah. And then I know. And then it made me think about like these, I took I think it was like a couple of classes, ISM classes at CCSF, City College San Francisco. And one of them was the LGBTQ class, and how they talk about they, them, theirs and all that, right? They, them, theirs, what do you identify as? And we had to sit down with a partner and do an exercise of introducing each other, saying not he or she, but they or their, right? So like this is Theda and their favorite color is blue, and they are from Browning, Montana, and they like to go hiking, and it was kind of interesting too. And we brought it back, and you're like, how do you feel, talking like that? And there was different reactions and all. But in the end, for me, I felt like it was the right way. It almost feels like the right way to take out the genderizing. It's like kind of like they there represent your ancestors, right? That's what came to my mind when you're talking about ancestors and all. And so Don't ever feel like you're alone when you go places, and always know, that your ancestors are with you. And someone says, "Oh, who'd you come with?" "Oh, just me and my ancestors." Hey.
No, I really like that. Aurora, they were singing with you, and Aurora, when you were speaking about all of your team, I mean, I'm just trying to practice what you just taught us.
Yeah.
That seems so, oh man, it's just like the energy goes out. Like it just
Yeah.
seems like so much more inclusive. And I think that belonging that you're teaching with the Gona process, that I think if we do things to where we feel like we belong,
Mhm.
and even when you were saying, reach out to 5 women, but, I was just thinking, I have an 88-year-old and an 82-year-old they live about a mile and a half down. So I just like, I call them up. I call and check on them, but I was just thinking of going, we call it a buffalo link, a couple buffalo lakes,
Yeah.
that are 6 feet apart, and
Mhm.
just, hey, how are you doing? Because that they know they belong. And, in our area, one of the things we did is we developed Babylonian lockdown Facebook. And it's just been we've been doing genealogy. And like today we're supposed to post a picture of when we were a baby and what we look like now.
Yeah.
And then, and I've been living with these people for 26 years, and I've learned so much
Yeah.
by just this virtual belonging. So what else could you tell us, Aurora, in the last few minutes that we have, about the belonging with all of your tribal people? What else would you like to share with us before we close down?
I always say that it's a human, what's it called? It's our human nature, to want to be loved and accepted. That's just a basic human need, is to have that love and acceptance. And so, just remembering when you go out, to always, be accepting of others. And we call it trauma informed care in the work that we do here, and trying to not be judgmental, but be understanding, about where they come from and why. The question is why, why are they like that, and not getting mad or judgmental for the way they are, and just having an understanding of their background, and where they come from, and a deeper understanding, and it's the way Creator wants us to be, is loving and kind to one another. And like I mentioned, we're all human, and each day is a new day to try again, and to have that spirit of excellence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so great. I want to thank you. I was just kind of, talk about that humor thing, because like my dog Ocon Iron Pipes laying by my feet. So part of my way of dealing, is he could feel my energy. So I just let your animals be around you. Or I've seen a lot of families have gotten new animals.
Yeah.
When I was sitting here, there was this one little fly, and this is just my humor. And of course, I was just gonna, and then I thought, how could somebody let a fly on their head for two minutes, 6 seconds? And because us indigenous people, we'll just whack it, And I was just saying, okay, but then just even that, and so I was saying, thank you, Fly, for that lesson. Thank you. Just indigenous eyes, we see things different, and I know, I want to thank you. Native Wellness Institute wants to, on behalf of our whole team, tomorrow we have our Australian brothers. So get your team, come on, come on and listen.
Mhm.
And then Friday we have our Canadian brothers and sisters. And then what's cool is yesterday all of our Australian or Oteria relatives were going to get on, but they couldn't. So they're going to come on next Monday. So, but Aurora, on behalf of our team, I just want to, thank you for coming on and just visiting with us during Indigenous Week, because we're here, we're celebrating, and I know I'm visualizing, but I just see you, like your grandma, you're going to live a good another 50 years, because if you take care of yourself, and that's, if you don't take care of yourself, you can live a long time. And that's what wellness is about. I see you in the future. I just can visualize you seeing your great grandchildren, and then really, really healthy. And so on behalf of Native Wellness Institute, we thank you for coming and joining us during this Indigenous Week, our 183rd program. And we have a YouTube, and this is free, and we have our website where you can watch all 183. So if you need an uplift during this pandemic, there was really there's so many good ones. Casey Nicholson did one on anxiety. Tagabon, of course, there's so many speakers. When the one that Jolene and her partner did on surviving cancer twice, man, that was good. Just go to our YouTube or go to our website, and these are available. These are our gift to you. And we're here for I know, we're like an hour. It went so fast, but I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Aurora. And we know, having Sundanced and we know that Creator is watching over us. And so I just kind of feel like Creator came and, Jolene and I, of course, we're just so used to miracles. We're like, I said, yeah, Aurora's just going to drop out of the sky, share with us. That was so awesome. But I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I want to thank all of you who were listening. We're with you, and we love you. And here we just want to say that you're never alone. Besides, you got all those ancestors. All those ancestors, you can't see them, but they're there. And so with that, we'll say Kitakito Matsuno, and we'll see you later. We love you.
Thank you.